Hi, welcome back to Wayward Son Custom. Today we're going to unveil the Wolverine Shadow. The only real significance to that is just a mashup of the names of the two main components of the gun. So not a lot of setup that needs to go there. I'll just get into it. Alright, first things first, we dropped the magazine, and it is a GL915 Magpul PMag. And that just means it's a Glock G19 mag made by Magpul. So as far as the Wolverine Shadow goes, we're going to start with the frame and work our way up. The frame is a Shadow Systems Corporation MR918, but it's tricked out a little. So we'll go through that too. But I will say this is my second favorite feeling Glock frame. And I've shot them all. The FMK AG1, the Lone Wolf Distributors Timberwolf, the original Lone Wolf, the CCF Race Frames aluminum frame from back in the day, Glock OEM, Shadow Systems, PSA Dagger, Strike 80, Polymer 80, Grey Ghost Precision. I know all three of those are basically the same. Nomad, POF. Dude, I'm pretty sure I've shot them all. And this is my second favorite. It used to be my first favorite until the PSA Dagger came out. And I gotta tell you, that frame, just next level. This is pretty darn sweet too. Actually, I really don't have a problem with the grip angle or the feel of any of those frames. They all feel pretty good to me. Just varying degrees. So, and I will say, unlike some people, the Glock OEM frame is not my least favorite. Just saying. But anyway, it's a Shadow Systems MR918 frame, which you can, you can't, or at least I haven't found a source for MR920 or DR920 or the new XR20, XR20. I haven't found any frames for those, just aftermarket stripped frames. But the MR918, you can still get from a few sources. The number one that I know of that you can get them all the time is, and they go on sale every now and then, is Zafiri Precision. Not only do they make some good barrels, some decent slides and stuff, but they also carry MR918 Shadow Systems frames. So that's where you can get that at. I don't get any kind of kickback from them. It's just a place where you can get a really good frame. Anyway, the internals are all Glock OEM, with the exception of the trigger spring and the trigger connector, which are both Wilson Combat. And then moving on, as far as the slide goes, this is one that I tried. I tried 3 times before I actually got this slide. Every time I tried to get one, it was sold out. Kind of like the first Strike 80 frame I got from Strike Industries. Oh my. Trying to buy it directly from Strike Industries. I'd get an email saying, hey, it's back in stock. Within 10 minutes, I'd be online and they would already be sold out again. And this was kind of the same thing, because this is the Swampfox Tactical. It's made by Swampfox Optics. Well, actually, I believe it's made by Steel City Arsenal for Swampfox, but it's Swampfox's slide. Anyway, these it was the third time's the charm, I guess, because the first 2 times it sold out before I could actually buy one. And then I bought this one, and then, well, you know, a few weeks later, Black Friday, and they sold them for about $100 less than what I paid for mine from the company. So, yeah, took a little bit to get one. Wound up paying more than if I would have just waited a few weeks. But in the end, I'm still pretty happy with it. It has this knurling up front here. You can see the little Swampfox logo right there. But this knurling here, instead of traditional slide serrations, and you don't have the traditional cocking serrations back here either. You just have the same knurling, but it does give you very good purchase. And that same knurling continues on the top there, and you have this window cutout, which, you know, you, not only does it lighten the frame, or excuse me, lighten the slide to mitigate some of that, reciprocating mass, kind of mitigate recoil a little bit, but also if you have it tricked out, in my case, I just have stainless steel, but you know, you could throw in your little Gucci gold barrel, or, you know, your copper, blue, whatever. You can put whatever barrel you want to in there and show it off just a little bit. Not a lot of people are going to see the top when you're shooting it, but anyway, it does help with recoil, which is more important. But I'm just saying, you could do the little aesthetic touch there too. As far as moving on back, on top of it here, behind the rear sight, and we'll get to that here in just a second, is the Swampfox Kingslayer red dot optic. And the thing about the Swampfox is you can mount other red dots on here, but they made this slide specifically to go with their optics, and but it's not completely proprietary. Like I said, you can use others. Anything uses their footprint. You know, Trigicon comes to mind in RMRs, and Holosun. You can use some of those models. I think like the 507C, or anyway, it's a couple of them. Anyway. But they specifically made this slide to go with their sights, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I figure if you're going to buy a slide that was made to go with a particular optic, why not go with that optic? So I chose the Kingslayer. I like the Justice and the Liberty, but ultimately this one was on sale. The other two weren't, so I went with it. I figure it's all good Swampfox quality, and I'll try them all out in the long run. So why not start off with this one? So that's what we have back here. Now, the interesting thing about the sights are, as you can see, instead of being behind the red dot, like in a lot, or I should say most setups, it's actually forward of it, which is actually going to help you when, should your optic go down, it's going to help you out as far as getting a sight picture between your front and your rear sight. And I will say these sights actually come with this slide. They actually include them, and the sights are I believe they're the mid-height, I could be wrong, fiber optic front and blacked out serrated rear set from Steel City Arsenal. So again, I kind of like the idea of using one company and having all their stuff there, because sometimes when you start quite often, when you start using different custom parts, you know, different aftermarket parts from different places, sometimes they have, if you use too many things that have a really tight tolerance, those tolerances can start stacking and cause reliability issues. That's why there are a lot of 1911s that cost a high dollar that, aren't all that reliable, but they're super accurate. And that's because they're so freaking tight that accuracy is there. But if you have it too tight, then it doesn't want to run all the time reliably. And so there's that sweet spot there for these high-end manufacturers to, or gunsmiths to, you know, dial it in right in that little sweet spot. And a lot of them really knock it out of the park when it comes to that. Others fall short. I mean, honestly, if you use a bunch of Zev stuff, they're high quality and they're tight tolerances, but they're so freaking tight that a lot of times, I just have a hard time with Zev stuff getting them to, just out of the box run. I usually have to fiddle a little bit. Once you do get them dialed in, they're awesome, but, yeah, they're high dollar and super tight tolerances, and so just be prepared to work with it a little bit if you do go that route. But anyway, so I really like the idea of Swampfox wanted something proprietary, well, not proprietary, but their own thing that would go with their optics. So they get Steel City Arsenal to make the slide to go with their optic, and then Steel City Arsenal includes their sights specifically made for this slide. And so to me, that just, you know, it helps add a little bit of function to the form. And although I do think that this is a very striking slide. I do think it's not my favorite slide as far as looks go or as far as functionality, but it's up there. I mean, it is a really nice slide. You can tell it's well built. The way it's laid out, the knurling and everything is not overly aggressive, but it gives you more than enough if you want to do a press check here, press check there, press check there. And yeah, I know, don't put your hand in front of the muzzle. I'm just illustrating that no matter where you grab this thing, I mean, heck, the optics on there are nice and tight. You can even go forward of it and hit the sight, but it's laid out really nicely, and it's probably going to be hard for you to see. But if the optic goes down or you're just not using it, this setup really makes it easy to pick up that front sight, even with the optic still mounted. So, yeah, I mean, and of course, if you take that off, there's absolutely no problem using it. It's a little bit shorter sight radius than what you would normally get with the rear sight normally being back here if you take off the optic. But, you know, it's not terrible. I mean, it's no worse than if you were shooting a G26. And I know from experience you can shoot those out to 50 yards pretty and ring steel pretty consistently if you're at least a halfway decent shot. So I think most people will not have a problem with this, and I actually believe that it's laid out very nicely and is very functional. But you know, I'm sure one of you guys will be like, "No, John, you're an idiot. That's not right." But I find it works for me, and so we're going off of my sample, and don't mean to sound like a jerk, but it's my opinion. So there it is. Nah. But it is a nice little setup and everything. As far as the internals go, I went with all rival arms internals, and that is to include the stainless steel barrel. I got a little bit of glare there. There you go. You can see the little Rival Arms logo there. And I have to tell you, this is a very smooth setup. I only recently started using Rival Arms internals as far as slides go. I've used their barrels several times in the past, but it's the first time I've really, well, this isn't the first time, but I've just recently started using their internals. And so far I am pretty impressed with them, and I would add them to my list of manufacturers that I would trust their internals to. There are a lot of really crappy, not really all that great, not that well made parts kits out there for cheap. There's only about 5 or 6 that I'll go with, and Rival Arms has just recently made that list. So there you go. This is the Wolverine Shadow, because this is the Swampfox Wolverine slide, and this is the Shadow Systems Corporation MR918 frame. Again, all Glock internals in the frame, other than the trigger spring and trigger connector, which are Wilson Combat, mag pull P-mag, and the slide Swampfox Wolverine, made by Steel City Arsenal, as well as the mid-height fiber optics front sight, serrated blacked out rear sight, Swampfox Kingslayer red dot optic on the back, and I got a little NDZ Performance American flag laser engraved back plate there. So that's the Swampfox Wolverine. Hope you like it. It's a sweet little setup, and I would highly recommend it. But let me know what you think in the comments. You can also shoot me an email at waywardsoncustomgun@gmail.com. And I check that several times a day. So you can always reach me there. You can head over to the website and get a little extra content there. And you can also contact me through there. That's waywardsoncustomgun.com. And don't forget to add the GUN to the Wayward Son Custom. And I'm on Instagram, so you can check out some not only pictures and stuff that you've already seen videos on, but also some stuff that predates my YouTube tenure, and also some stuff that may just not have made it to video yet. So you might actually get a scoop if you check it out. But anyway, that's the Instagram page. And if you want to help support the channel, my website does have some affiliate links you can use for a few different companies that have seen fit to give me a little taste of what you buy. Doesn't cost you any extra. And you can also support the channel through patreon.com. I do have that set up as well. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you don't mind. And until next time, watch your six. Carry on. Wayward Son out. Hoorah.